And this is what exists under every radiator. You have water coming in at one end and out through the other. The two taps that you can see here, or valves, are hidden behind the skirting board, and normally you can't see either of them. The one on the right that is completely disguised when the skirting board is in place shuts off the inflow and would be adjusted for a rate of flow, with it being more restrictive down low and less restrictive up high, in an attempt to flow water through radiators at exactly the same rate or a similar rate no matter what floor level you're on. The item itself consists of a number of components. That section, connected top and bottom to the radiator pipe, is normally referred to as the valve, and adjusting the valve is the spindle. The leaks that we've had have been as a result of deterioration of the string or packing inside the spindle, which has allowed water to seep out from where the tap handle goes into the spindle. It then leaks down that fitting, down the valve, onto the black metal, the top of which you can just see there's a little bit of thread there that's black metal before the brass valve attaches. It sogs the slab and the pipe rusts from the outside. You can see some rust evident around the thread. In order to replace the valve, you have to undo this thread from the black metal and this thread from the black metal and replace the valve in total. A suggestion that's been made would be to replace just the spindle, leaving the valve intact, which reduces the risk of pipe breakage, which to the radiator is not that significant. You can always buy a new radiator, but which is very difficult to recover from if the breakage is at or below the slab level, and that is a real possibility given that some of the pipes are quite severely corroded, and it will be in a number of cases difficult to get that fitting off the pipe because of corrosion. If we could re-engineer, remanufacture, or find spindles that would just screw into the valve, it would be a much safer option. You've got a brass to brass rather than a brass to black metal thread to undo. It may be a little bit difficult to disengage initially, but the thread should be fine. One of the risks that you run disconnecting the brass fitting from the black metal is that if the corrosion is too severe, you will actually take the thread off the black metal. And as you can see, there's very little metal exposed above the concrete. I'll just take you onto another shot of the pipe at the other end, and this is being filmed purely on the basis of being a representative example. There will be pipes that are in possibly better condition than this. There will be pipes that will be in far worse condition than this. Right, this is the other tap that's exposed out through the skirting board, normally that you would adjust to either turn the radiator on and off. The other one, as I've said, would normally be adjusted at a point to help balance the overall system water flow. As you can see on this one, there is actually a threaded collar below the surface of the concrete. Although this tap has not leaked in my ownership of the apartment, which dates back to 1994, a previous water damage or just deterioration over time has allowed for rust to form on this pipe. So you've got a threaded collar just below the surface level, and you've got a threaded connection to the brass valve further up. In an attempt to remove the valve, you really don't know which which thread is going to move first. There is quite a bit of rust around the bottom one, and if that is stripped in the process of trying to replace the valve, I don't fancy having to try and replace it, given that there is no access, and you'd have to remove concrete. Just seeing what we see here also does not describe the sort of damage that or external rust that may be present on the pipe further under the concrete. The problems in 30 and 31 that we experienced last year were as a result of external corrosion that looked similar to this, where the weak point of the pipe was found by moisture some 8 to 10 inches into the concrete. The alternative of just replacing the spindle or re-engineering the spindle makes sense in some respects, in that it minimises the risk of damage to the pipes that you can't easily replace, that is the black metal ones that go into the concrete, because you've got that brass on brass screw fitting, which should come away reasonably easily. If the body of the valve is left in place as well, then you've got something that is stronger and fixed in place by the radiator and the bottom pipe, which means there should be less stress on the pipe that goes in the concrete as well. The options of replacement is all about balancing the risk, and assessing that risk is extremely difficult, as every case is going to be unique.